What's going on, y'all? Shawn here, and I just want to briefly talk about the topic of inflammation. Now, inflammation is something that has become of somewhat new importance to me. I've learned about inflammation definitely over the years, but I've become more interested in it at this point in my life because I realize that sometimes I'm probably dealing with some extra inflammation. In particular, I think that some of it is from working out. I feel it in my knees and whatnot, where I have to kind of warm up more to kind of get to get kind of get my knees feeling good and whatnot. And um, it's one of those things where it wasn't like that before. And then also here in the muscles underneath like my shoulder, like kind of like between my shoulder and my lat here. Of course, my shoulders up here and then muscle here. I do a lot of chin ups that work those little muscles underneath the arm, and those get very sore. And again, it wasn't always like that. So, one thing I've become very interested in is the regulation of inflammation as well as just overall like recovery, which I believe as one who is now in his 40s is of utmost importance for people who are in our age groups and whatnot. I believe that we, are as able as anybody to continue to be very active, perform at a very high level, but we need to really kind of make sure that we address recovery so that we don't end up having injuries that hold us back. So it turns out that a lot of things in American lifestyles just so happen to be pro-inflammatory. And inflammation is not really a bad thing. Inflammation is one of the main reasons that we heal from injuries and that we can overcome infections and things like that. But at times it can go kind of out of control. And a lot of the reason for that is because of like our lifestyles. So like and and inflammation, like I said, it's not a bad thing whenever it's acute, meaning it's like a short-term thing. But then whenever it becomes chronic, where your body is constantly kind of dealing with inflammation in certain ways, then that's when it can become more problematic. And I believe that I've kind of dealt with that here and there, really within the past year, year and a half or so. And, it's unacceptable. It's one of the reasons why I recently went on a vegetable and fruit cleanse or whatever. But like, if you have been dealing with what you perceive as inflammation, like, mainly like joint pain, um, and I just focus on that because that's kind of like been the thing for me, or like slow recovery, then let me just share with you what I've learned about what can cause it and then what I'm doing to overcome it. So things that can cause inflammation to linger would include stuff like, of course, diet, a diet that's very high in ultra processed food, sugar, apparently gluten, maybe even dairy for some people. Also, not getting enough sun exposure because vitamin D that we get from the sun is it is very much of an immune what you call modulator. So it helps your immune system to kind of like not get underactive or overactive. And a lot of us are so vitamin D deficient. And I remember many years ago, and I got a blood test, and I saw that I was quite vitamin D deficient. That's one of those things that ends up being an issue probably more often than not because we just don't get outside the way that we should. So, um, so yeah, so like not getting enough sun, not getting enough exercise. Exercise can be a little bit pro-inflammatory initially, but then it's like the more the long term effect, which can kind of like reduce inflammation. So that's another thing. Not getting enough sleep, which well, I'm actually pretty tired today. I didn't get enough sleep last night, but that can be an issue sometimes. What else have I learned that can? Then also emotional state. Like having a lot of negative emotions that can be kind of pro-inflammatory. So these are a few of the things that I think that we end up kind of getting caught up in a lot in today's world, and that end up getting us kind of leaning too much in the inflammatory direction, so to speak. So part of what I'm doing is one, I'm really striving to get enough sleep. You know, like I said, I've had a couple of nights here recently where I haven't really gotten good sleep, but thankfully that hasn't been the rule. That's kind of increasingly becoming the exception. But getting more sleep, getting more vegetables, which is something I've been working on for a while. I don't have any issue with vegetables. I love vegetables. It's just I've been really striving to get not just enough vegetables, but way more vegetables than usual, because they are, anti-inflammatory. Also, getting outside more, fasting, like 24-hour fasts, 36-hour fasts, stuff like that, kind of on a weekly basis. And um, those are just a few of the things. I don't have any issue with exercise. I exercise almost every day, to be honest. Usually no less than like 4 or 5 days a week. So I don't have an issue with that. If anything, I'm trying to get more cardio, even though my mindset has changed. Typically, cardio for me tends to look a little bit more on the interval kind of. It looks more like intervals, like high intensity, then low intensity, and high intensity stuff like that. So anyway, if you've been dealing with inflammation, I just kind of want to share with you a few of the things that I've been doing to combat that. I have noticed, even though I have to keep on going, I've noticed in the past that fasting um has actually I forgot something else I do. But I've noticed in the past that fasting has helped, but I know I need to be consistent with it. Another thing that I do is I take cod liver oil, and that's something I'm striving to be more, consistent in as well. So anyway, that's a few things I'm doing. If you are watching this on YouTube and you want to be a part of the Q&A that also happens at the end of this for my fitness community, then go to patreon.com/Sean BTB Fitness. You be able to pick up the Q&A part there where you get to ask me questions live, health and fitness related questions. And come on and join. I want to see what you guys um, what kind of questions you have. I love answering these questions. I'm passionate about this stuff. So yeah, and it's for what's the cost? So probably one, two, three, four, probably the cost of about, I don't know how much Starbucks drinks are because I don't go there very often. But if a Starbucks drink is, let's say, $6, then it's about the cost, and you get like a Starbucks drink every day. So it's about a little bit more than a week and a half's worth of Starbucks drinks. The cost of kind of the monthly cost to be a part of this group. And then instead of like, giving you all those excess calories and fat pounds, you're gonna be actually you're gonna be investing in getting rid of that and investing in your body so you can be healthier. So I think it's worth it. But anyway, I look forward to seeing y'all in my fitness community and have a good one. If you're 35 to 50 years old and wanting to lose weight, get stronger, and become more athletic, but you keep finding yourself hitting roadblocks like aches and pains, stuck at the same weight, lack of motivation, even wondering if your fitness goal is impossible to reach, I got something for you. My exclusive fitness support consists of my daily fitness mindset mornings every weekday morning, where I teach you the mindset that fit people use to achieve high levels of health and fitness. and where you can ask me your specific health and fitness questions so that you can finally get unstuck. You also get access to my video workout library, as well as my fat loss workbook, fitness journal, and other helpful fitness related downloads we have available on our Patreon. If that sounds good to you and you're ready to change your mind so that you can finally change your body, your health, and your life, join us now at patreon.com/Shawn B2B Fitness.